Greetings and salutations. My name is OJ as always, and surprise, we're not doing another Dead by Daylight video, though the video on the Spirit is still going to come out later today. The reason for this is because I want to talk about the mass amount of layoffs that have recently popped up at Xbox, because as someone who, owns and plays on Xbox quite a lot, these mass layoffs piss me off to no end. Obviously, so just for context, it's 9,000 people who have just been recently laid off at Microsoft as a whole. This comes after multiple other layoffs just since May of this year, I believe this year, or last year, one of the two. Microsoft has laid off 15,000 employees, which is a ridiculously, ludicrously high number. Just in the space of 2 months. 2 months. Assuming it means that comes from an article from the Seattle Times. And I'll throw the articles up on screen that I'm sourcing from. The two, I'll say it as well. The two being a article from Dexerto talking about and how Xbox has confirmed the mass layoffs, and a article from the Seattle Times where it's also talking about the 9,000 employees that have been laid off. It's just, this is insane. 9,000 employees just gone. Absolutely absurd. And my condolences and such go out to everyone that has been laid off, and I do hope that they manage to find employment ASAP and aren't affected too badly by this entire thing, because it is an absolutely horrible thing to do. And it comes after, multiple layoffs over the last 5 years, after COVID kind of stopped being a thing. Well, it's still a thing obviously, but after COVID stopped being close everything down, destroy the world sort of shit, they hired too much during that period, and now everyone's getting laid off. But still, 9,000 people, that's a lot. Sony, I believe, was laying off people as well a couple months ago, and Xbox, as I just said, has laid off 15,000 people in the space of 2 months. This is ridiculous. It's just insane. And an internal memo from Xbox head Phil Spencer confirmed said decision, stating the company would end or decrease work in certain areas of the business as it shifts focus towards long-term goals. That is a specific quote from the Dexerto article. In the memo, Spencer told staff, "We are focused on aligning our strategy, priorities, and resources to best set ourselves up for success in the next era of gaming." He added that the changes include reprioritizing certain products, initiatives, and aligning our teams to support our strategic priorities. Some of the companies involved in these most recent layoffs, gaming-wise, Candy Crush's King has roughly about 200 employees were laid off, which that sucks, obviously. Condolences go out to everyone. And this is probably the most egregious one. Xbox has cancelled several major projects as part of these layoffs, some of which we didn't know about, but one that we did know about was the long-awaited Perfect Dark reboot, which sucks arse. I mean, I'm not a Perfect Dark fan. I've never played Perfect Dark, but at Xbox's showcase last year, which is where they showed the reboot, it looked good. It looked quite cool, and I was interested in it. So to see that this, not only has the game been completely cancelled, but the studio, the initiative, gone. Completely shut down. The whole studio has been shut down. It was a studio bought, or Microsoft built, from the ground up in 2018 to create high-end prestige titles, staffed by veteran developers from Rockstar, Naughty Dog, and Crystal Dynamics. Studios were positioned as a first-party powerhouse. Now both the project, Perfect Dark, and the studio are shut down entirely. That is absurd. Scummy to all hell and back. And other studios affected is Turn 10, the team behind Forza Motorsport, was hit with layoffs affecting nearly half of the staff, which is crazy because Forza has been one of their most stable franchises, and it's just it's What? I don't get it. I don't get it. Why is it that they're laying off members of studios that are successful? I remember, I think it was last year, where they just completely shut down Tango Gameworks. I was pissed. I was furious. Right after they had released Hi-Fi Rush, which is one of my favourite games of all time, was my game of the year last year, and just to see that game did really well commercially, critically, and just to see that the entire team was completely laid off, entire company shut down, I was devastated. Thank God they ended up getting picked up and saved, because otherwise I would have been furious with Xbox for the rest of my life. Anyways, some of the other studios affected are Call of Duty support studios, such as High Moon. I believe that Raven Software was also affected. Phil Spencer emphasised that the company will continue to invest in areas that will grow our business and support our players and creators. Well, you're clearly not supporting the creators, are you? You just laid off a bunch of people. You sacked a bunch of people from some genuinely successful studios. Or studios that didn't even really get to make their mark yet. Didn't even give them a chance. They're pointing to a broader strategy centred around operational efficiency and long-term stability. Yeah. I don't think, as you can tell from the title, I play Xbox. I am an Xbox player. This entire situation, I don't like calling it a situation, but this entire thing, accompanied with previous layoffs, etc., it makes me ashamed to own an Xbox. I don't think I want to buy another Xbox in the future. As good as Game Pass is as a deal, not only is it bleeding money from their company, which I understand why, it's too good a deal to be true, and it shows. It's probably part of the reason why these layoffs have even happened. But it just I'm ashamed to own an Xbox because of this sort of shit. I don't like PlayStation either. I think Sony has a lot of bad practices when it comes to exclusivity and communicating with other companies, etc. And I'm not really fond of Nintendo because they're stuck 25 years in the past. But man, Xbox is awful. They cannot run a business to save their lives. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Despite the cuts, Spencer maintains that Xbox is not scaling back its ambitions. We will continue to build great games, create innovative experiences, and reach players wherever they are. That mission hasn't changed. Terrible. Terrible. He's pissing me off. Specifically Phil Spencer. He's annoying me to no hell. Not only was, there was massive layoffs at Rare as well. I forgot to mention Rare. They had massive layoffs, and Everwild, which was a game that I had not heard of, but it looked quite cool, cancelled. Completely cancelled. Insane. And at the end of the day, after all this news had come out, what was Phil Spencer doing? According to this tweet, obviously it's from RG Gamer B. Obviously, you can't trust everything you see on Twitter. I'm well aware of that. But apparently, after all this, he just went back to playing games. Went back to playing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. And the worst part is, if we go to the Seattle Times article near the bottom, apparently Microsoft is investing a lot into AI technology. As Microsoft cuts corporate ranks, the company is investing heavily into artificial intelligence. Microsoft's push into AI doesn't mean the company is replacing workers with the technology, rather the significant costs of building out of the infrastructure over multiple years has Microsoft looking to trim costs where it can. During the financial or fiscal, however you say that word, year, which ended on Monday of this week, as of when I'm making this video, they said they plan to spend more than $80 billion on infrastructure to meet AI demands. Whoa, that's terrible. And you know what? Although obviously, as I just said, they're not replacing workers with the technology, I do think this cost, this $80 billion being spent on it, is partially the reason, or one of the reasons, why there has been so many layoffs as of late. Because why would you need John, who's a coder at Rare, to do the work when you can have the AI do it for you? hello, that's a human being who has to earn money. I'm going to make it very clear. I am not fond of AI in almost any way, shape, or form when it comes to the creation of video games. If it can help people along the process, cool. It should not be removing people from their jobs so the AI can do it for them, even if it does a better job. I do not like that whatsoever, and it should not be used in any way, shape, or form for the creative process, such as creating art for the game, creating designs for the game. Like Call of Duty, Black Ops 6 had a AI-generated loading screen. That pissed me off so much that I deleted the game and have not played it since. It was Black Ops 6. I did say that. Right. This is terrible. My condolences go out to absolutely everyone affected by the layoffs. Even Blizzard was affected by it. They've had to cut service for a mobile game called Warcraft Rumble. Like, there's been so many people affected by it, and it pisses me off to no end, and this is probably the last straw for me. The Tango Games Works stuff was the last straw, but this is just only, it's a straw that's already snapped, but then they're just snapping it again into smaller and smaller bits. Like, this is terrible. Absolutely awful. And I needed to get this all off my chest, because otherwise, I'm pissed. I'm sure you can tell. It's terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But yeah, I needed to get that all off of my chest. I like to, as you know, or as you all know, this is a channel dedicated to gaming. So if something like this pops up, I will talk about it if I see it. I did see, obviously, perusing Twitter, and I ended up seeing a bunch of stuff about it, and I was like, yeah, no, I have to make a video on this, because it's just awful. And I'm going to express the fact that I think it is awful, and I am ashamed to own an Xbox because of stuff like this. As always, PC just turns out to be the best platform you can play on. When was the last time that Steam did something this bad? If they did do something this bad recently, I'm sure someone will fact check me in the comments. But anyways, with all of that said, I hope you have a good evening, good afternoon, good morning, etc., etc. This situation, I don't like calling it a situation, I sound like pyrocynical. It pissed me off. It has pissed me off. And I'm very, very much ashamed to own an Xbox, and I'm not very fond of the company, especially not Phil Spencer, who for the longest time has been saying, I love games, I love the people that make games. You just had the Xbox showcase where you said that about 5 times, and now this happens? I know he's not responsible for the layoffs, but the way he handles the layoffs always pisses me off. It's just like, we're still striving towards our future goals, yeah. Hey, you can talk about the fact that you just laid off, like, God knows how many people? Huh? Anything? No. Anyways, I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, evening. The video on the Spirit from Dead by Daylight will still be going up later today, but I just needed to get this off my chest and cover it whilst it was still fresh out the oven, per se. But yeah, I hope you have a good evening. I've said that about 5 times. I'll see you in the next video, and take care.